So, frankly, to be a channel of these great people that were doing totally phenomenally great sexual, amazing, wonderful stuff, really is pretty cool. Because frankly, I'd rather go back to what these guys were doing at the height of their heyday, when there actually was a lineage. Frankly, makes a lot more sense. Because they did some pretty amazing stuff. They were actually using Tantra as a path to the transcendence of consciousness. So when you understand what these people were doing, they were actually doing what all these people who are doing Neo-Tantra are trying to do. These people were actually doing. So if you can actually get through these texts and read these texts and interpret these texts and use these texts, it's like amazing. This is a very experiential path of Kashmiri Shaivism and just some principles of Tantra. They believe that, let's see, there's just one absolute principle of consciousness called Shiva, and everything unfolds out of that, and that's called Shakti. And so we're all divine, and so that's it. And there's only now, because there is no such thing as space and time, and everything is real. And so a lot of this may sound heady, but if you actually just agree with that, then you can begin to play with space and time while you're like having sex and making out and dealing with people. And if you just get that, you are so powerful. It's totally amazing. It will change the way you sex, you play, you make love, and you access the divine. And so here is a text. It will change your life if you can just like allow that in. And here's a text from the 8th century called The Yoga of Delight, Wonder, and Astonishment. Now, my favorite poet saint is Abhinavagupta, and he was in the 11th century AD. And he just loved this set of verses. This is 112 or something or more. Suggested ways to go into enlightenment. I'm going to read 4 or 5 of these ways. We're just going to practice them right here and now. O Goddess, even in the absence of a woman, there is a flood of delight simply by the intensity of the memory of sexual pleasure in the form of kissing, embracing, pressing, etc. And then in the notes it says this: since the sexual pleasure is obtained simply by memory, even in the absence of a woman, it is evident that the delight is inherent within. It is this delight, apart from any woman, that one should meditate on in order to realize the bliss of the divine consciousness. So I invite everyone to close their eyes for a moment and ask you all to consider this. Think about some truly incredible, orgasmic, sexually blissful moment that you have had. How many times have you gone back to that experience? Just once? Or do you return to it over and over again? Or do you have some program running in your mind that says, oh, I can't do that. Why, that happened already. I'm not allowed to go back and revisit that beautiful, blissful thing because that already happened. Like there's someone there that says that's no fair. That doesn't count. That already happened. Or are you the kind of person who in their freedom says, well, hey, I just had this incredibly blissful experience. I am going to make that mine. I celebrate that bliss. I am free to use that any way I want. I have had that bliss, and now it's mine forever and ever. I celebrate. I can use that bliss at the slightest breeze. I can use that bliss with any touch, with any moment of connection, with staring at a flower, with just sitting by myself. I am totally free to have that bliss forever, any way I so choose. So, how do you use that bliss? And I invite you to contemplate, where is your sense of freedom?